Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for choosing us tonight. I'm Rosalind Giles. Cleanup is underway after a major fire at a Georgia chemical company. While investigators tried to figure out what caused the flames, and crews say a lack of sprinklers may have made a bad fire even worse. Fox's Jacqueline Schultz reports.
Every building except the building that burnt was sprinklered.
No sprinklers inside this building, now reduced to rubble. Last night, fireball after fireball shot out of the structure into the sky, and smoke poured out for miles past Marietta city limits. The building stored chemicals, and whatever was inside caused quite the light show.
The chemicals are what causing the large explosions, and obviously the great deal of the intense heat from the fire.
The company AMREP manufactures aerosols and petroleum products. Today, investigators couldn't even go through the damage. Firefighters telling us some tanks full of chemicals were so hot they were worried some would explode. But just feet away, you can see the company's other buildings that firefighters say had sprinklers, virtually untouched by flames.
It may not be the only reason, but that really helped.
Sprinklers helping save the rest of the buildings. Assistant Fire Chief Steve Ingram tells us if there were sprinklers in this building that caught fire, that would have kept last night's blaze from growing so large. The building's so old it didn't have to have sprinklers.
The age of it, it was grandfathered in. It didn't have to have them.
We spoke off camera to one of the managers of AMREP. They themselves not exactly sure what chemicals burned last night. They say the only way they will find out is by going into the rubble and taking a look alongside investigators. And now we're told that won't happen until daylight Sunday.
Well, the Memorial Day holiday is in full swing, and officers are warning drivers to be extra cautious this weekend. AAA Auto estimates 31.8 million Americans will hit the road this weekend. The Click It or Ticket campaign is underway, and officers are looking for drivers not wearing their seatbelts, not to mention speeders and other reckless drivers. Tomorrow is Memorial Day, and that means chances go up for DUI cases. That's according to law enforcement officers. Newsletter 9's Sarah Lim met with a local expert to look into the difference between DUI less safe and a DUI to keep you informed for this holiday weekend.
I spoke with Al Barber with Barber's Driving School, and he says there are two types of alcohol-related DUI charges, per se and less safe.
You can still be charged well below the .08 level. And again, in our school here, we see people getting convicted with as little as .04 all the way up to .07 on the less than safe.
Al Barber with Barber's Driving School says there are different kinds of DUI charges in Georgia.
In Georgia, there are 3 different substances that we could get a DUI charge for: driving under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or inhalants. We have a title in the Georgia Code that deals with the 3 we just mentioned. And the title reads like this: drivers with ability impaired by alcohol, drugs, or other toxic vapor.
In the state of Georgia, there are 2 types of alcohol-related DUI charges. Per se DUI is when the alcohol level is greater than the legal limit, which is .08. The other type is known as a less safe DUI. This means that the driver is less safe to drive as a result of drinking or even consuming drugs.
And that's usually coupled with some evidence of sporadic driving, reckless driving, high-speed driving. More often we'll find it in association with a wreck or vehicle collision.
Barber says officers can charge a driver with DUI less safe if they believe the drivers got into a collision or were swerving on the road, even if their blood alcohol level is under the legal limit.
If someone's charged with a .02, .03, it'd be very hard for the prosecution to prove that the alcohol was a contributing factor in that wreck.
Barber says having any sort of a DUI charge on your record can harm your chances of getting a new job and more.
Well, first of all, a DUI charge never leaves your record. Because if you're charged with DUI, you're going to jail. We have a little more time off from work, so we're probably more likely to engage in a little bit more drinking than we typically would. Don't be in control of a motor vehicle while you have any kind of alcohol in your system.
For News Leader 9, I'm Sarah Lim.
Time now to talk weather. Great times out on the Chattahoochee River today as Whitewater Express continues taking people downstream. Well, here's a look at the fun today. It was a very warm day, giving people a chance to get out and enjoy this 3-day weekend. Let's send it over now to meteorologist Elizabeth Dearmore with our first look at the forecast.
Yes, it was a gorgeous day across the valley. Some sunshine, even a few showers for some, as you do see on Doppler 9 radar, down to our south and to just to our east of our county, seeing a few showers out there. Could see some lightning with this as well. Nothing severe, just your typical thunderstorm. They'll pop up and move on quickly. So could see some of those showers. Zooming out a little bit, satellite radar shows some clouds across the area. We'll call it partly cloudy skies tonight, and that chance of rain there for your Memorial Day as well for those afternoon showers once again. Right now, still very warm here in Columbus. We're at 79 degrees, 73 in Auburn, 70 down in Dothan. So a very mild Sunday night, leading us into Monday. Looking good. We'll start off at 69 degrees under partly cloudy skies. It'll be warm and humid, and then it'll keep warming up into the 90s once again. And I'll have a full check of the rest of your week coming up a little bit later in the show. Rosalind?
All right, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Well, across the bridge now to Alabama, Fort Mitchell officials honored veterans today during its Memorial Day celebration. The Fort Mitchell National Cemetery hosts the memorial service to honor fallen soldiers. The annual service is held to pay tribute to the thousands of soldiers buried there, but to also recognize veterans still with us today.
To raise awareness that these men and women died serving our country. And we can set aside one day out of the year that we're all thinking about the same thing and paying tribute to their service and to their families.
Former Columbus Mayor Bob Portashev was the guest speaker. Portashev is a retired United States Army colonel. Federal aid for victims of the April tornado outbreak has now reached $15 million. $12 million of that was approved for individuals and $3 million for business owners. FEMA officials say they still have nearly 1,000 damaged properties to inspect. The deadline to register for aid is July 1st. To apply, just log on to FEMA.gov or call 1-800-621-3362. If you plan to vote in the state of Alabama, you'll need to make sure you bring a valid form of ID issued by a government agency or a new voter ID in general. The state legislature approved a measure requiring everyone have a photo ID or they can't vote. The primary elections for the state of Alabama take place on June 3rd. A deadly shooter's plan revealed in a manifesto. Find out what the gunman said in a letter written prior to the California rampage. Plus, police investigate a deadly shooting at a popular tourist destination. We'll tell you what brought the party to an end.